Hello everyone, Capolo here, and today we are going to look at a budget build of Rakdos Sacrifice. I will go in depth to each card and how to use them in the deck, and then later in the video I will show you how to upgrade the deck with the wild cards that you may acquire while playing the deck, or rares you have laying around in your account already. I will include the deck list in the comments down below. Also, as testimonial for this deck, a friend of mine reach Mythic, starting with a budget Rakdos Sacrifice and making some upgrades. This deck is really powerful even though it's a budget deck. This is the budget version of Rakdos Sacrifice. I'm going through every card and explain what I do. Mayhem Devil is the main engine of this deck, that's why probably the deck is possible. It's whenever you sacrifice a permanent, it does 1 damage to any target, and you can take care of the board if your opponent has creatures, or just go face damage if the opponent doesn't have any creatures. As sacrifice effects, you have Witch's Oven, that you can sacrifice a creature and then you get a food token, or 2 food token if the power is 4 or greater of that creatures, and Village Rites. This you sacrifice the creatures to draw 2 cards. Other sacrifice effects in the deck are Slaughter Priest of Mogis, that you can sacrifice a creature or an enchantment to give Slaughter Priest of Mogis first strike. And also whenever you sacrifice a permanent, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Another sacrifice effect is Fireblade Artist, that at the beginning of the upkeep you can sacrifice a creature, and if you do, you can deal 2 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. What are we sacrificing, do you ask? So, there are 2 ways to sacrifice things in this deck. One is our own creature that have value, such as Cauldron Familiar, that you can sacrifice, and then if you sacrifice a food token, you can bring it back from the graveyard in play. This synergizes really well with Witch's Oven, as we saw that when we sacrifice a creature we create a food token. So you can sacrifice a cat with Witch's Oven and then bring it back by sacrificing a food token. Other creatures that gives value while sacrificing, we have Serrated Scorpion, that whenever it dies, deals 2 damage to each opponent, you gain 2 life. So this can deal like 2 damage every time you sacrifice this Serrated Scorpion. Outlet Fiend is similar, but in this case you deal 1 damage to any target, so you can kill the creatures too. And if you own a Mayhem Devil in the battlefield, you can deal 2 damage to the creature. The second way is to steal our opponent creatures and then sacrifice them. For this we have Claim of the Firstborn. You can gain control of the creature with mana cost 3 or less. Untap, you can attack with it, or you can sacrifice it immediately to Village Rites and Witch's Oven. Another steal creature effect that doesn't have the converted mana cost 3 or less restraint is Act of Treason. This you can steal any creature, so you can steal your opponent's best creatures. Another thing to note is that you can cast Claim of the Firstborn or Act of Treason on your own creature to give them haste, in case you want to attack with them. Another cool card in the deck is Call of the Death Dweller. This card brings back 1 or 2 creatures with up to converted mana cost 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. One gets Death Touch and the other one gets Menace, or if it's only 1 creature, you can give both counters to that creature. By having Death Touch, if you reanimate Mayhem Devil, it means that every 1 damage it deals to any target, it kills the creature. So Mayhem Devil becomes a machine gun. For the mana base, we have Evolving Wilds that trigger Mayhem Devil. We will see in the upgraded version how to upgrade Evolving Wilds to a better fetch land. Then the mana base is pretty simple. We have 14 basics and 4 Bloodfell Caves to gain some life, and also to fix your mana. You can play around with the numbers in this deck. You might add some extra Call of the Death Dweller depending on the metagame that you face while you are on the ladder. Let's talk about the sideboard. This I think is the sideboard that is probably pretty good in the current metagame. So we have 2 red cap melee if we face some mono red decks or just the mirror. We have Agonizing Remorse, that is a card that is good against control or if the opponent is playing Uro. Noxious Grasp, if you play against white or green decks, is an effective answer to Teferi. We have Embered Shieldbreaker, that you are going to bring it in only against the mirror or if you face an artifact deck in the ladder, but I haven't seen many artifact decks. We have some extra removal in Scorching Dragonfire for mono red or other creature decks. Angeret Rampage is a card if you have to deal with artifact creatures or Planeswalker, and it's pretty effective to kill Planeswalkers. And in the end, one Act of Treason if you play against creatures. So this was the budget version of the deck. Let's see what the upgrades for this deck are. I'm gonna show you the major upgrades that you can do with only 8 rare wildcards. The sideboard hasn't changed, but we substitute the 4 Fireblade Artists, the 2 Slaughter Priest of Mogis, and 2 Village Rites with Priest of the Forgotten Gods, 3 Midnight Reaper and a Woes Rider. Let me explain you why these changes are useful. Priest of the Forgotten God, you can sacrifice 2 creatures, some that you could have stolen or some of yours. To have the opponent sacrifice a creature, you add black and you draw a card. So this is a hidden Angeret Rampage into a creature that we get to draw a card and get some value. And also we are disrupting the opponent plan. This is the key card that you should upgrade. Midnight Reaper, it's whenever one of your creature dies, you draw a card. Sorry, non-talking creature cards, you draw a card. This keeps the engine going, and you will never run out of cards when you have Midnight Reaper on the battlefield. The last card that we upgraded with is Woes Rider. It's a card that is really resilient, it's another sacrifice outlet, and also you can escape it from the graveyard. Escape means that you can exile 4 cards from your graveyard and bring back this card for 3 black. So this card is really resilient and it's a sacrifice outlet. Once you have some other rare wildcard to spend, there are other ways to improve the deck. You can substitute the Evolving Wilds for Fabled Passage, the Bloodfell Caves to Blood Crypt, couple of Swamps to Castle Lockwayne, and Serrated Scorpion and Footlight Fiend with Gutterbones, Judith or more Woes Rider. Friend of mine, Samsoni1, reached number 2 Mythic with Rakdos Sacrifice. He wrote an extensive deck guide for the fully upgraded deck list with all the rares and mythics. I'm going to leave his guide in the description down below. I hope you find this guide useful. If you did, please let me know in the comments down below. As a reminder, I stream on Twitch on Tuesday and Thursday at 7 PM Pacific time, link in the description down below as well. If you like the video, please leave a like, I would really appreciate that. I will see you soon with a new video.